Does your child shut down even when they haven't even started a math problem? Have you ever wondered why are they feeling this way about math? I've noticed as the years go by, a lot of kids really struggle with math anxiety. In fact, a lot of the kids struggle with anxiety in general. And to be honest, as an adult, I'm one of those people. I'm always anxious about something. What I like to do with math anxiety is I never point it out to the kids. But I have noticed that different things that I said kind of trigger things to make kids a little bit more nervous about math, even though I thought I was saying it in a really nice way. So one of the biggest things kids are afraid of is failing. And I still haven't figured out why. I'm not sure what is so scary about failing. In fact, in my class, we celebrate failing. I tell the kids on the first day of school, I actually want you to fail. And the reaction is the same every time. What? Why? No teacher has ever told us that before. And then I clarify. I don't want you to fail fourth grade as much as I'd like to have them each year over and over again. But I want them to fail throughout. I want it to be a good thing, and here's why. When you fail, when you do something the wrong way, we can learn from that and say, oh, now I know I don't have to do it that way because it's not going to get me the right answer. And that's totally fine. In fact, it's really not a big deal at all. So that's what I like to start with at first, to get those kids really thinking about, you know what, when I fail, I actually learned something, and that's a great thing to do. The next thing I like to do when I'm working one-on-one with a student is I let them lead me. So I notice a lot when we help with homework, we try to lead the kid. And we say, okay, this is what you do first, this is what you do next. Come on, you remember the next step, what are we gonna do? And immediately they start thinking, what if I don't get it right? They're gonna get mad, even if you don't. Or just, it's too big, it's too scary, I can't do it. So even if you change your verbiage just a little bit, you might help alleviate some of that anxiety. So for example, I would give a problem and I just have the kid look at it. And then I'd say, tell me something about this problem. Tell me anything about this problem. So it could be a really long word problem. It could be a really long multiplication problem. It could be a very scary division problem. And maybe they say, I recognize that's the number 10. And I'll say, great. Do you see anything else? And then they'll say, well, I see that it's a multiplication problem. And I say, awesome. Look how far you're getting. Those little things really build the confidence because you're saying, you actually do know a little bit about this problem. It's not as scary as saying, I don't know what to do, I'm just not going to do anything. Then instead of saying, okay, the first thing you do is this, I like to say, what would you start with? Or if they're not sure, I like to play the student. I like to say, you know what, I've seen something like this before, but I don't remember how to start. What would you do? What would you say to me to help me start this problem? And here's the key. Even if it's wrong, go along with it. And what I mean by that is, if they are completely wrong in their answer, say, okay, what would you do next? Generally, when you keep asking those questions like, what would you do next? Or why did you do that? They usually fix their own mistake because they see that that didn't work. But it's easier for them to see that it didn't work rather than saying, oops, nope, that's wrong, let's try it again. And even if you say it in the nicest way, all they're gonna feel is, oops, that's wrong. And then they're gonna start to think every time they try to do it, it's gonna be wrong, it's gonna be wrong, it's gonna be wrong. And they're gonna get to the point where they don't wanna do it anymore. So for example, maybe I have a scholar who tries to do a problem and they do the entire thing wrong. I'm gonna let them do the entire thing wrong. And I'm not gonna say anything about it. And when they look at me and they ask me, instead of saying, oops, let's try it again this way, I'm gonna say, wow, I really like your train of thought on that. Can you explain why you did that to me? And once they explain, you can generally see, oh, okay. So they think it's this way, and I can relate it to how it should be. But again, I'm not gonna say, nope, let's try it again. I'm gonna let them continue. I'm gonna let them continue until the problem is completely done. And then I'm gonna go back and say, wow, I really like that you did this step, but I'm gonna compare it to the one we did over here. Does that make sense? Is it the same? And usually they'll figure out, oh, wait a second, I should have done this instead. And then I'll say, oh, well, let's try that instead. And then at the end, when they get it, we celebrate.